How's it going, guys? Persona Cheese here, and today I'll be telling you how to get the Chakra Ring, a unique accessory in Persona 4 Golden, and give my opinion on it. So, how do you get it? Well, you have to beat the Heaven Dungeon and then return there after November 20th. Once you enter, Resale will mention that a strong shadow has appeared on the top floor. Get to the top floor and defeat it, then cross the bridge and walk around a bit to your left once you've crossed it, and you'll get the prompt to check. Do so, and you'll receive the Chakra Ring. Now, before I talk about the ring itself, let me tell you a bit about the boss. I won't dwell on it for too long though, since it's not that hard apart from some annoying affinities. A quick disclaimer, don't bring Teddy and Kanji like I did, and definitely don't bring Chie. This boss can't be hit by ice or physical attacks. The only reason I brought this party is because I didn't think to look up the boss beforehand. Instead, bring Yukiko for healing and good fire damage, Naoto for a Mega Dollar or Mind Charge and Megadolion if you have them, and Yosuke for pretty good wind damage and Masuku Kaja. As for what moves to use, have your character be the buffer or debuffer, but you only really need to use one buff or one debuff. So use the rest of your turns on Mind Charge, then a strong fire, electric, or wind attack. Your resistances don't really matter since you can use all 4 of the main elements plus physical. Also, don't think you have to be around the level I was or have the personas I had, because you really don't. I was just extremely over level when I recorded this. If you beat the Heaven Dungeon okay, you should be fine to take on this boss. Now, as for the Chakra Ring itself, it halves the SP cost of all magic skills for the wearer. When I first got that, it sounded amazing, but I quickly realized that its usefulness is somewhat dependent on your level. There are 2 reasons for this. The first is that once you reach higher levels, if you get Spellmaster on a fair few of your personas, which was the case for me, or get Victory Cry somehow, then the Chakra Ring doesn't do much if you have it on your character. Of course, Victory Cry is borderline impossible to get, plus you probably weren't a Spellmaster at this point unless you're way over level like I usually am. But I recognize that's a very what-if based argument, so I'm not going to push too strongly on that point. But the other thing is, the recommended level for the boss of the Heaven Dungeon is about 60 to 65. So let's say, best case scenario, you're level 55 under the recommended level and beat the boss. Then you come back to the dungeon after November 20th and decide to ignore all the enemies and just go straight to the top for that Chakra Ring. You're still level 55 when you get it, then you use it for a while until you reach level 61 and get Rise's ability Relaxing Wave, which recovers 5% of your party's SP after each fight. At that point, the Chakra Ring really only helps you during bosses, and even then, since this ability means you either rarely or never have to use SP items to get through a dungeon, you'll have all the SP items you need to take on bosses. And sure, it might help you save a turn or two because you don't need to use SP items on yourself, but there are so many accessories that'll help way more during boss fights, and help you in normal fights too, which the Chakra Ring really doesn't at this point. And of course, if you're higher than level 55 at this time, which you probably are, then the Chakra Ring is helpful for an even shorter amount of time. So, because of that one Rise ability, this accessory really isn't all that good. Of course, for the people who are having SP troubles even with Rise's ability, this accessory might be helpful, but I just think the amount of people in that situation is really small. Plus, even if you are having SP troubles in the latest dungeon with Relaxing Wave, you can just go back to an earlier dungeon where you can kill enemies with basic attacks, and once your SP is recovered, go back to the dungeon you're trying to get through. So, to sum up, the Chakra Ring may be good for a really small subset of players, but to the vast majority, it's kinda crap. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see the main character's best weapon in Persona 4 Golden, click the link on screen.